And it is time to get started. Hey, welcome to At the Track Live. I am Coach James. I am the creator and lead instructor for All About Aerodynamics. What is All About Aerodynamics, you ask? Glad you asked, even if you didn't ask. All About Aerodynamics is a science program where I use Hot Wheels cars to teach kindergarten through 6th grade students about a range of science and physics related topics, including, but not limited to, kinetic energy, potential energy, elastic force, downforce, drag, lift, Isaac Newton and his 3 laws of motion, and a whole range of other science topics. After we have learned the science, after we've had discussions to drive home the concepts and conducted experiments to make those concepts relatable, then and only then do I bring in about 400 different Hot Wheels cars, and each student has the opportunity to select one Hot Wheels car they think would be fastest in a series of races. After they've selected their car, they examine their car, they take a picture of their car, they weigh their car, they test the speed of their car, they get the year the car was manufactured, they observe and document all of the things that they can observe about the car. But then, after they've done all that, we set up a 1/64 scale quarter-mile drag strip, and the students race the cars, and they observe how their cars perform. Did their car perform up to or below their expectations? And if they had the opportunity, would they select that car again, or would they make a different choice based on what they've observed? We have fun with Hot Wheels. We learn science. What could be better? If you would like more information about All About Aerodynamics and our science program and how to bring it to your school or your organization or your special event, all you have to do is go to our Instagram account, AA Aerodynamics, or you can go right to our website, aaAerodynamics.com, and you can get more information about our in-person and online offerings. And if you go to the Instagram account, you can also check the bio, and you can get links to our YouTube channel. If you want to watch old episodes of At the Track Live, you can do that. They're all listed. There is plenty of information and plenty of videos and things there to keep you entertained for a while. But this is not all about aerodynamics. This is All About Aerodynamics presents At the Track Live. So what is At the Track Live? At the Track Live is a program series that I created because before I can introduce new Hot Wheels cars into the fleet, I have to make sure that I know which cars are I'm bringing to the students to use so that I can put them in exactly the right places, keep track of the cars, and know that when I bring them back, they are ready for the next group of students to use. So, that means I have to take a picture of the cars, I have to enter the name of the car, other information into a spreadsheet, and then I can be confident that I know where my cars are, essentially. And that was a boring process, so I created At the Track Live in order to kind of make something I have to do into something that was fun to do. And every week, I go into my storage bin, I pull out about 6 different Hot Wheels cars, we crack those open, take a look at those, I take my pictures, I get my little video, and since the cars are already here, and since the track is already set up out there, we have a little mini tournament, and that mini tournament determines which of the new cars that have been introduced into the fleet is the fastest. But wait, there's more. You have the opportunity to participate by going to AtTheTrack.live. You will have three options. One will be the YouTube stream link, one will be the Twitch stream link, but the third option, the third most important option, is the option that says choose your car. When you click that option, you are taken to this page. And on this page, all of the cars that are in the All About Aerodynamics at the Track Live fleet are listed. And you can scroll through, you can look at the cars, and you can find the car that you think would be faster than whichever car it is that I have introduced this week. And if you see a car, let's say you're scrolling through and you say, you know what? I'm looking and I see this. Let's go with this RD02. I think this RD02, Coach James, I think this is the car that is going to be faster than all of the cars that you have picked, that you have introduced into the fleet. And this is the car I'm going with. I want this car. I want to see this car on the track. I want to see this car race. I want to see what this car has to offer. All you have to do, after you've made your selection and you've clicked on the picture to get a close-up view of the car, all of the cars are numbered. In this case, this is 302. So what you would do is you would take that number, 302, you would drop it into the chat, and then I will pull that car. And suddenly, magically, your car is entered into the tournament to determine which is the fastest car of the week. And if your car happens to win the tournament, let's say you make the right pick, you make the right call, your car is the car that is the winner. Well, guess what? Then you will have the opportunity to face off against our fastest in fleet car. What is our fastest in fleet car? Our fastest in fleet car is the car that has been winning that tournament that I mentioned the previous week. And in the case of our current fastest in fleet car, it is this one. It is the, switch over, the Gazella R. The Gazella R is the fastest in fleet car. It is the car that has been unbeatable for the past 3-4 months or so. And it has been so dominant that our races are best 2 out of 3, and the Gazella R has been so dominant that it really has rarely faced even a challenge. Again, our races are best 2 out of 3. I think it has lost 2 different 2 times. There was a car, I don't even remember, I think the Whipped Creamer 2 took 1 of the 3 races, but the Gazella took the other 2, so it moved on. It won. There was I think the Slide Kick, and I think that took 1 race from the Gazella, but the Gazella came back and won the other 2, so the Slide Kick didn't get the job done. But last week, we had, Roughshod, hey, how you doing? I was just bringing you up. So last week, Roughshod picked the Slide Kick. He brought the Slide Kick back. And we put it on the track, and it beat out all of the other cars that were introduced and got to the finals against the Gazella. And the Gazella had no trouble with the Slide Kick. So it cleaned up that blemish on its record, that slight blemish. And as a result, the Gazella is on its way to a championship rematch showdown with the former fastest in fleet car, the Blitz Speeder. Now, the Blitz Speeder was the champion for 17 weeks. And it was as dominant as the Gazella is and has been, that's how dominant the Blitzspeeder was until the Gazella came along and beat it. So since the Blitzspeeder kind of set the mark at 17 weeks as fastest in fleet champion, we are going to wait until the Gazella hits its 17th week as champion, and if it can make it, then on March 29th, the Gazella will face the Blitzspeeder in a championship rematch, because to this point, we really haven't found cars that have been able to compete with the Gazella. And some cars have been close. Some cars have been beaten by not as much as other cars, but by and large, the Gazella is just next level fast. And if it can get to March 29th, if it can beat out the Blitzspeeder again, just sort of affirming and confirming that it is the fastest Hot Wheels car on the planet, well then, I don't know where we go. But I always say the odds are that in our fleet, there's a car faster than the Gazella. It just has to be found. And to this point, it hasn't been found. And maybe you can be the person to find that car. So again, all you have to do is go to AtTheTrack.live, select the choose a car option, and you will be taken to our page that has all of the cars listed. And that is here. And we have a pick right here. So Roughshod is going with car number 246, the Driftsta. Let's go ahead and take a look at that car. 246. And right there. So this one, it's a fantasy car, but it's got, like, you see a little bit of Corvette in there. You see a little bit of a bunch of different cars that Hot Wheels made. But this is of the fantasy cars, this is more of a traditional style. It's got the sort of standard shape style that this could be a car that you would see on the street versus some of the other fantasy cars that have a little bit more wild design to them. So I am going to write that down. 246, because I will be pulling that car in just a little bit. And I will also pull out any other cars that any other viewers decide to select. So all you have to do, once again, is go to AtTheTrack.live and find the car that you want, enter the number into the chat, and I will pull the car. The other thing that you can do is, I've explained this in the past, but the search function on our website doesn't work. So if you happen to know the name of the car that you want, like let's say, for example, you want Porsche 356 Outlaw, this one, but you don't want to go scrolling through 800 plus cars to try and find it, then you can just let me know. Just send me a message and ask if I have the Porsche 356 Outlaw, or whatever the name of the car is, because I keep a spreadsheet, and this is the whole point of doing this, to make the cars easy to find. So I keep a spreadsheet, and that spreadsheet has all of the cars listed, and I can just search out through the spreadsheet and see which car is the one, see if we have the car that you're looking for. So right now we have 819 cars, and I'm just hesitating because I'm looking at the spreadsheet. I had to move some cars around because the case that I put the cars in has little slots for the cars right here, and so they're all numbered, but sometimes the cars are too big to fit in the smaller slots, so I have to move them around. And so in the case of the Nitro door slammer and that Buick, that 66 Buick Riviera, like they're too big to fit in the standard slot, so I have to move them down. It has one big opening here for twice the cars, or for larger cars. So the numbers are off, which threw the numbers off on my spreadsheet. So these will be cars 825 and 826, but they're listed strange on the spreadsheet for now. Oh, speaking of these carriers, I just found out last week, or this week, that Joann's Fabrics is going out of business, and I don't know, based on the articles I read, it has to be all around the country. And it's basically a craft store. They sell fabrics and this and that, but it's also where I get those storage cases. And they're one of those stores that's always having sales, but it's those sneaky sales where they mark up the price and then tell you, oh, 40% off, but they already marked the price up like 50%, so 40% off makes you feel like you're getting a deal, whatever. But anyway, that's where I get those cases, and they're going out of business. So if you do have Hot Wheels and you take them out of the package and you're looking for a way to organize them, you probably already have a system or some kind of storage solution, but these are pretty good. They're double-sided, and you can stick the cars in there. You can see through, so you don't have to open up the case. And like I said, it has the wider spot, so if you have Hot Wheels cars that are a little wider, that is something. And I just peeled off, hang on. I just peeled off the label. And I can show you. Oh, there's a bunch of green on the label, so this isn't going to show up very well. Anyway, it's called the Creative Options Double-Sided Multi-Craft Carrier. And you should be able to find it. Don't pay any more than $12 for it. I looked on Amazon, and I don't know if it's because Joann's is going out of business, and I'm sure other places carry it. I know Michael's, probably Hobby Lobby if you shop there. But I went to their website. Their website is creativeoptionscrafts.com, and nothing came up. It went to some other weird site, so I don't even know if they're still in business or what's going on there. All I know is if you can find the cases, grab the cases, because it's a good way to store your loose Hot Wheels. If you have other ideas, if you have other solutions, let me know. But for me, those are the best, because if I take them for students, when I bring in all the cars, I set the cases on a table, and they can walk around and they can look through the cases and see the car, look at the cars without being able to actually touch the cars until they've made their selections. So Creative Options Double-Sided Multi-Craft Carrier. That's it. So let's see. A few different things. We tried out, we have Wind Tunnel Wednesdays, because I bought that Winsible, the 1/64th scale quarter mile, that's the drag strip. The 1/64th scale wind tunnel, which is a cool little device that there's a review on the YouTube channel that goes into a lot of detail about the Winsible, but we put some cars in there, and it's pretty cool to be able to see the way the smoke fog flows over, under, and around the car, and you really get a sense of the aerodynamic profiles of the car, and you can see which cars should have an easier time reducing the amount of drag, and therefore maintaining their speed for longer on our track, and performing better. But it's kind of a work in progress because I have it here. We'll probably find, there'll probably be at the, later on, some cars that we throw in there. And this is it. I'm still trying to work out what's the best angle, but basically this is it. It's about just over a foot long, and the cars go into this little compartment here, and you crank it on, and it will create scale speeds up to 250 miles per hour. And it's an interesting device that is perfect for what we're doing here, but whether it's for you or not, I don't know. But if you want a full review, there is one on the website or on the YouTube channel, and links, if you go to the Instagram account, you can get there and find it. But all right, at the Track Live, we are here to introduce new Hot Wheels cars and to race Hot Wheels cars. And I went into storage today, and what I realized is there's so many cars that I bought in the past and then just put in storage, and then I go to the store later, months later, and Hot Wheels has put the same car out but in a different color scheme, and I don't remember buying the previous version, so then I buy it again. And as we go through the storage, as I pull out cars, then I'm finding more and more duplicates. And I don't want to have, there's not really a point to have multiple versions of the same car unless there's some difference. Now, if it's the same car, but the wheels are different, okay. If it's the same car, but somehow they've switched the materials and it's metal on plastic, where before it was plastic on metal, okay, but that's not going to happen. Usually it's the wheels that would be different, and that's the only time that I'm really going to have duplicates in there. So as I was pulling cars out for today, it seems that I was running into duplicate cars left and right. So I just grabbed a bunch of cars, and we are going to have to see which ones are duplicates and which ones are not. So, I pulled out a bunch of cars. We have, let's see. All right, let's just start going through these. So, first up, I have this 95 Mazda RX-7. So I am going to check the spreadsheet because I'm almost certain we ran one of these. Let's see, 95. And sometimes I can't remember whether it was a car that whether I remember buying the car or whether there's a difference. Sometimes I'll remember buying the car, but I don't remember whether or not I entered it into the spreadsheet. And it turns out that the 95 Mazda RX-7, we have two of those. Car number 413 and car number 525. So this is going to be a prize car. And the prize car are the cars that students have to pick from if they answer a question correctly or participate, win a game, things like that, have good citizenship. So let's see. I've got a Nissan Skyline 2000 GTR LBWK Liberty Walk version. I don't know that this is in there, but I wouldn't be surprised if it was. So let's check it out. Nissan. We have a Nissan 300ZX, a Nissan, what is that? Silvia, a Nissan Skyline RS, but no Nissan Skyline. This is different. Different enough. It's different enough that it's going in. So we are going to put in the Liberty Walk Nissan Skyline 2000 GTR, the Liberty Walk version. So let's go ahead and crack this open, and this will be our first car of the day. All right, let's see. So I have all these other cars. Set these aside. All right, let's see how much this car weighs. This is the LBWK Nissan Skyline 2000. Seems a little heavy. It is heavy. It's 41.4 grams, which the Gazella is 32.2 grams. So that is what we're talking about there. And let me get this lined up. And let's go ahead and take a look at the LBWK Nissan Skyline. So here as it comes around, let me get ready to shoot this little video, because there is an online version of All About Aerodynamics, and the students don't have the opportunity to see the cars in person. So the little short video, 360 video, is the best way for them to, whoa, hang on, I don't need it to be in 4K. Try this again. And lock in that focus. And here we go. And so we have the LBWK Nissan Skyline 2000 GTR LBWK, and it's one of those that I wish they had just put it so they put the Japanese characters across the top of the windshield, and the little on the fenders there, and then they have the little LBWK logo, but then the back is just so plain, just a dab of color on the tail lights, something. I mean, they just paint the tailpipe, the license plate, the whole thing just with that blue. And I think that this car would be, if they just added in a little bit more detail. And I think I've mentioned before that I went to an event over at Mattel and in El Segundo, and spoke with one of the designers, and I asked him a few questions that I had at the time, but I think one of the questions, if I get the opportunity again to ask, is how they actually determine which cars are going to get more detail or less detail. Because there's another car that I have sitting here that if I don't already have one, then I'll definitely be putting it in. And we're going to see the difference between a car like this Nissan Skyline, which is going to be car number 816, and Nissan Skyline 2000 GT R LBWK. And let me check the year this car was manufactured. It was 2021. It's also got smaller wheels. I'm not a fan of car. It might not be, I guess I'd have to show something for comparison, but these wheels are small. These are not, they don't appear to be the standard Hot Wheels size wheels. They look a little smaller. They're not the smallest size wheels, but they don't appear to be the standard Hot Wheels wheels. And I don't know if we've had a car with smaller wheels do well on our track, but there's a first time for everything. So now let me get the still picture here, and let's see. Hey, Never Ending, how you doing? Which car did you pick? Was it the Cosmic Coupe or the Electrac that you picked? And I can, if you remind me which one it was, then I can tell you how it did. And let's zoom in here and get this turned. Trying to get a good 3/4 view. The Cosmic Coupe. So, the Cosmic Coupe was, I want to say it got to the finals against the Slide Kick. And the Slide Kick won. The Slide Kick was definitely beating cars. We kind of had that idea in mind that because it was able to hang with the Gazella the first time, or the Blitzspeeder, I still don't remember which it was, but one of the two cars, the Slide Kick was right there with it. I think it was the Gazella, and I think I mentioned this before, that there's a short on the YouTube channel of those two cars racing, and there may even be a reel on Instagram. And I think the Slide Kick did take one race from the Gazella, and then the Gazella came back and beat the Slide Kick, beat it out. So we had the idea that the Slide Kick would make it to the finals, and it did. And but I'm pretty sure the Cosmic Coupe, it did win a couple of races before it was knocked out. But yeah, Slide Kick won the tournament last week, and then lost to the Gazella. All right, so the first car we have here, and see, it's weird. So they did the front. Maybe they exhausted all of their resources on, the front end and making the headlights and the kind of textured grille. And then when they got to the back, they just, only did half the job. So, I guess that is what it is. But this next car, and that whole discussion just reminded me, the next car that is this one, I'm going to check to make sure I don't already have one. But whether I have one or not, it's just an example of, this is a 1988 Ford T-Bird. And it's just an example of when they go all out, when they complete the car all the way around. So the paint job is spectacular. It's got this like metal flake to it. The headlights, sort of this smoked out plastic, which gives them a different look to make them stand out. I'm not usually a fan of two different types of wheels on the cars, but in this case, I'm not going to complain too much. They've got the Ford badge, they've got the Hot Wheels badge, this Vatuski Motor Company badge, Hot Wheels graphic badge, they've got the lines, the stripes coming down the side. The back end is a completely different part. It's a plastic part, so that helps it stand out, different color. And now all this white on the bottom, I do like the contrast, but I don't know if I'm completely sold on the overall sort of look of all that white plastic. Now, if they had done their thing where they use like the plastic chrome, that might have been cool. But regardless, I like this. I like this car. And I might as well go ahead and shoot the video because I don't believe I have one of these in the fleet already. So I'm going to shoot this video. This is the, what did I say it was? It was the 1998 Ford 1988. Let's see. I will check to see if we do in fact have one of these. A through Z, 1988. We have a 1988 1985, a 1980 Corvette, a 1985 Honda CRX, and then it jumps all the way up to 92. So, all right, this car is in. It looks good. Now, at the back end, so clearly this is modeled after a drag car. You see it's got the parachute pack in the back. And unfortunately, for this car, that sticks out beyond the wing and the, sticks out beyond that big spoiler and beyond the back bumper. And usually that doesn't bode well for cars on the track, that if they have this piece, that means that's the only part of the car right there. That's the only part that's going to be touching the launching block. And when there's less surface area touching the launching block, cars can get weird pushes. And sometimes it will push them to one side or the other. And that starts a pattern where they just start bouncing back and forth, and it's not good, especially when you're talking about the later stages, because the cars that do well on our track are able to stay straight for the duration of the race, and they can correct if they get pushed off to the side. They can correct that movement very quickly, and the Gazella is the best example of that, because I have some slow motion video that I guess I still need to do a little voiceover to explain, and then I can put it out. But it shows the Gazella coming out of the launching block, and it's sideways and up in the air and twisted and turned, but within the first foot after it leaves the launching block, it's turns sideways up on two wheels, but it corrects itself and straightens out and then flies down the track. Cars that don't correct their stance and their position that quickly end up just bouncing around the track, and you can't afford to do that, especially against cars like the Gazella, the Slide Kick, the Blitz Speeder, the Draftnator. You can't afford any botches or any missteps or any mistakes against the upper tier of Hot Wheels cars on our track. So let's get this picture of this, was it a Talladega? No, T-Bird. 1988 Ford T-Bird. Let's see how much it weighs. It feels kind of light. And it is light, 26.6 grams. So even though it's a longer car, it is lighter. And now when we get into this category, what we're looking at, Ford T-Bird, one of the problems we found is that light cars, that all that force that they get sent out with, you never know. They start to fly around. They get impacted by drag in a different way. And if the car is too light, the drag starts to slow the car down. So what we're likely to see with this car, if I'm basing it on everything we've seen in the past, is that this car, one, it's narrow. And so it's narrow, and it's got this single point of contact. Those two, that's not a good combination. So I think this car is going to come out, and it's going to bounce around the track, left to right, left to right. But there's also the possibility that because it's so light, it crashes right out of the gate, because it just gets shot out with so much force. It gets an awkward launch that it hits that first barrier and then flies off the track. The third possibility is that it gets a decent launch somehow. It comes out, it goes down the track, it manages to stay straight. But then what happens, and what we've seen with the light cars, is that drag really starts to slow them down towards the back end of the track. And if you haven't seen our races, it's a flat drag track. It's not a gravity track. And when these cars get towards the back end, that drag on those light cars slows them down, and what will happen is whatever car this car is racing will most likely appear to gain speed and pass it, whereas what's really happening is this car potentially is losing speed at a more rapid rate than the other car. So it'll be interesting to see how this car performs. Whether or not it does well on the track, it's a great looking car, and I'm kind of curious about Hot Wheels and how they determine how much detail and effort go into one car versus the other. So we've got our Ford T-Bird. Yeah, I agree with Roughshod. If it launches good, it might still slow down halfway through. Yeah, and it's just so light, which is not the best fit on our track, but it is what we have to deal with. So let's see, what was the manufacturing year? 2022. So we've got the Ford T-Bird, the 88 Ford T-Bird. We have let me just double check. Yep. So we got the T-Bird, we've got the Liberty Walk Nissan Skyline, and I am going to see, of these cars that I pulled out just a bunch of cars. We're going to see which ones are duplicates, if any. So let's see. We've got I kind of remember this one. I remember trying to say the name, I think. The Automobili Pininfarina Battista. Let's see. Sort this spreadsheet. Go up to the A's. Automobili. There are Audis, there are Austin Healys, there are Avis Quattros, but there are no Automobilis. So we are about to have our first Automobili Pininfarina Battista. And Automobili Pininfarina is an actual car, or car maker, so this is an actual car. I see a little bit of Lamborghini, I see a little bit of Lotus, I see a little bit of a whole bunch of things, but it is going to be in the fleet. So let's crack it open and take a look. The Automobili Pininfarina Battista. Okay. Okay, this is another one that feels very light, but I think it'll probably still be heavier than the T-Bird. Only slightly. It's 29.7 grams. And get it up here. And we can go ahead and take a look at this one. So this is, it looks like it should perform well. There's nothing about it that says this should be the fastest car we've seen. There's nothing about it that says it should be slow. I think it should be mid to upper in terms of performance. The weight kind of makes me a little hesitant. When you start dipping into the 20s, then I don't know. Again, the sweet spot for our cars that do well on the track is between about 32 grams and 36 grams, and that is typically what we see in terms of cars that do well. And I think it's a good balance between weight and ultimately their speed. So let's get this picture here. I forgot to drop some backlight. Usually helps bring the car out a bit. Yeah. And there we go. And I will take the video, and we will have our newest entrant into the fleet, the Automobili Pininfarina Battista. So let's see. Get this started here. All right. And let me check the spelling. This is trying to compete for longest name, although I think the winner goes to the Lamborghini Huracan LP610-2 Super Trofeo. That may be the existing longest name car that we have. Although we do have the Matt and Debbie Hayes 1990. Oh, see, wait, we already have a Thunderbird? Yes, I knew that car looked kind of familiar. We have the Matt and Debbie Hayes 1988 Pro Street Thunderbird, which is car number 776. And, we'll take a look at that, 776. Because these cars, we may have to have a showdown, showcase showdown, because I don't want to have duplicate cars in the fleet. And as much as I like that 88 Thunderbird, if it's exactly the same as the Matt and Debbie Hayes version, then it is going to have to fight for its position. Now, since the Matt and Debbie Hayes version of the Thunderbird is already in the fleet, taking it out would mess up my whole system and spreadsheet. So the other car is staying in. The only way that this new one, that this red one gets to stay in, is if it beats that car. So basically, there is going to be, as Roughshod said, there's going to be a showdown. And if you want to keep your position, or if you want to earn a position, you're going to have to win and get into the race. So we will see in a little while if it can stay. The car that can stay, absolutely, is this one, the Automobili Pininfarina Battista. It is going to be car number 821, our 821st car in the fleet. And if we take a look, that back end's a little curved. It's got a kind of a Corvette kind of feel, but it is flat enough. There is enough of a flat edge right there that it should get a pretty decent launch. The weight is a little bit of a concern, but not as much of a concern as it is with the Thunderbird. So let me check the year this was manufactured, 2021. So we'll get that in, and then this is the car that we're going to have to, I'm going to have to look up, and we're going to have to see if it is going to make it or not. Let me add in the Automobili Pininfarina, which in all that other excitement I didn't do. Automobili Pininfarina Battista. All right, now we've gotten that out of the way. The real question is the Matt and Debbie Hayes car. So this is the car that we are considering, the car that wants to get into the fleet. This 1988 Ford Thunderbird, but we have car number 776, which is the Matt and Debbie Hayes. And if it is the same car, then I am going to pull it, and we are going to see if this new, beautiful version can earn its spot. 77, there, here we go. It's right here. This is, in fact, the same car, just with a different design. So, The newer version, or not newer version, the version that I introduced, this one, has white at the bottom, whereas that one has gray. And it's really just a color scheme thing. The inside of that has that silver plastic chrome look, as with the spoiler on the back. And on this one, on that one, the wheels are both the same. All the wheels are the same. The rear wheels might be a little larger, but on this version, the front wheels are different. So on that alone, as I said earlier, I don't like to have duplicates except when the wheels are different. So the wheels are different, but I think we also still need to have this showdown, because I don't want to have cars that are this similar, both this similar in the fleet. So we're going to have a showdown, and what's going to happen is it will be this car is staying. The purple one, the Matt and Debbie Hayes Thunderbird, is staying because it's already in the fleet. But this other one, this one, if it wants to stay, it's going to have to beat that car. So we will have that showdown, and if it can beat the other one, it gets to stay. If it can't, it goes to the prize bin. So we have, currently we have 3 cars ready to race. We have the Liberty Walk Nissan Skyline. We have the Automobili Pininfarina Battista. And we have this 88 Thunderbird, which is going to have to try and earn its spot. We also have the car that Roughshod picked, the Driftsta, which I will be going to pull in just a little while. And a reminder that if you want to pick a car to race today, all you have to do is go to AtTheTrack.live, select the choose a car option, and you will be taken to this page. On this page, you will see all 800, and I think there are 816 different cars listed. And if you find a car that you think would be faster than one of the cars that we've introduced, whether that be the Skyline, the Pininfarina, or the Thunderbird, or Roughshod's Driftsta, all you have to do is find the car that you want to pick. And let's say you think it is, this El Viento. All you have to do is click on it. You can take a look at the car, get a close-up view, determine if that is in fact the car that you want to pick, and if it is, all you have to do is take the number of that car, in this case 354, drop it into the chat. I will pull the car and it will be entered into the race. We will take it to our racetrack, which is all set up and ready to go, and we will see if your car can beat out the other cars and ultimately take on the Gazella R, our fastest in-fleet car. So we've got 3 cars up and 3 cars new to the fleet. Roughshod's pick, which means we need to introduce 2 more cars. So let me see. I've got a whole bunch of them down here. We have a, let's see. We have a 74 Lamborghini Miura SV. We have a lot of Lamborghinis, so I wouldn't be surprised. I think I did have one of these, except it was gold. But we will find out. Let's see. Lamborghinis. Plenty of Lamborghinis. What is this one called? Oh, no, 71. So I need to go up to the year designation. Let's see. We've got 71. Quite a few 71s. 71 Datsun wagon, 71 Dodge Challenger, Dodge Charger, Dodge Demon from 71. 71 Mustang Funny Car, Mustang Mach 1. I do not see a 71 Lamborghini Miura SV. I'm pretty sure I have a gold one, but if I don't see it here. So, oh no, there it is, 1971 Lamborghini Miura SV. So I am right. I did already have one of these in there. It's just instead of 71, I had 1971. So do have that in there. So this is another car that is going to be a prize car. Some lucky kid, some cool kid, some kid who is participating and paying attention and answering questions and winning games will get to select that car. Let's see. We have here, I like the look of this one. Hopefully I don't already have one. A 68 Mercury Cougar. So let's double check just to make sure. Nope, already have one. Car number 336, the 68 Mercury Cougar, and it's too bad because I really like the color scheme on this one. This is a nice looking car, but can't have duplicates, so to the prize bin it goes. Let's see. I'm pretty sure. I think we did this one recently. This Rally Speciale or Speciale. I would say special, but it's got an E on the end, so I'm trying to. I don't know what I'm trying to do, but either way, no, we had a Rally Finale. So we had a Rally Finale, but not a Rally Speciale, I guess. All right, well, now we do. We have a Speciale, Rally Speciale, a special rally, a rally special. Either way, cracking this open, we're going to take a look, and another fantasy car. All right, let's see what this car weighs. Weighing in at 35.5 grams. So this is actually a car that is more in line with the kinds of cars that tend to do well on the track, in terms of weight at least. The look and feel and design, it's anybody's guess. So we've got the Rally, the Speciale, and we will take, let me get the backlight on there. And here we go. Get this turned just a little bit. A little better. That light on there. And we've got our still picture of the Rally Speciale. Why did I put an E? Now I'm adding extra emphasis where there shouldn't be. It's just Speciale, I guess. All right, let me get the video, and we will have our 5th car ready to race today, and there will be one more. You still have time. If there's a car that you want to pick to race, go ahead and go to AtTheTrack.live, select the choose a car option, and just drop the number of the car in the chat. I will pull it, and you will have a chance to have your car face off against the Rally Speciale. As the special rally. Let's see. Got the Rally. Those 2 cars that I had to put in earlier really threw off my spreadsheet. 821. This is car number 821, I believe. Well, yeah. It's a little mixed up, but this is the Rally Speciale, and I didn't check the year it was manufactured, but it's it's such a high profile car in terms of the stance that I don't know what to expect. It's got odd lines. It's clearly a fantasy rally car, and it's, I think last week or very recently we had the Rally Finale, and it did okay. You know what? This actually kind of reminds me a little bit of the Cosmic Coupe, except the Cosmic Coupe definitely didn't have as much going on the back end. And right here, this part, there is no, or is there? Trying to see. Okay, so right here at the back end, right here, there is an opening And so as the air flows over the top, in theory, what you would want to happen is for the air to sort of stay attached to the car, flow right down the back, and then out through this channel as it hits this little wing here. But I don't know if that would be the case with this car. However, it is a plastic body on a metal base, and it's a fantasy car. And fantasy cars, you kind of have to just wait until they race on the track before you can make any kind of sort of definitive statement, because they're just designed in such strange and different ways that it's kind of hard to predict what they'll do. So this car, I think it could beat out the lightest car. I think it could beat out that Thunderbird, just because of the weight. I think it's got enough weight to it that it would pass that Thunderbird later down the track if it came to that. So let me check. The manufacturing year is 2022. And we are, let's see, I guess we need to pull out one more car, and then we will be ready to hit the track. Like I said, I went into storage, started looking around, grabbing cars, and we have, let's see, this one's cool, the Track Ripper. And I don't know if that is, let's see, I don't know if this is one that we already have. I seem to think it is. I hope it's not, but it is why I keep a spreadsheet. And if we do have one, then let's see, track. We have a Track Hammer, a Track Magna, and a Track Ripper. Already have one. Car number 88, so we've had one for quite a while. So this one, it's cool, but it is going to be in the prize bin. All right, we have this LB-Works, so a LBWK Lamborghini Huracan Coupe. And I'm pretty sure that we have a Huracan in the fleet already. Lamborghini, well, all right. We have a Lamborghini, we have an Aventador J, an Aventador LP700, a Lamborghini Centenario Roadster, a Countach, Gallardo, Huracan LP, Huracan LP 610, 610-2. Wow, we have Huracans. There are so many of these. So we have a Huracan LP 620-2, a Lamborghini Huracan LP 610-4, and a Huracan LP 610-2 Super Trofeo. So we have two of those. But no, not necessarily. Don't necessarily have a just Huracan Coupe. Although it can't be any different than the others. So let's go ahead and take a look at at least one of the others. So 761. 761. That was the last one that we had in the fleet. And I'll tell you this though, the kids love Lamborghinis and love picking them. And once we get into descriptions and discussions about aerodynamics and the kinds of designs and styles and things to look for cars that they believe could have reduce the impact of drag based on their design, then Lamborghinis just are some of the first cars that they look at. It's also cars that they're familiar with in terms of the name and the look, and they identify with Lamborghinis as fast cars, as they should. And so, let's see, 761. Because I'm pretty sure this car is exactly, let's see, 760. Oh no. Okay, so it's different. So this one has that huge wing in the back, and this one does not. It may be similar to some of the others, but you know what? We are going to put it in, and it is going to become part of the fleet. It is going to be our 820 something car, because I still have to adjust that. So maybe this car, about car number 823. It is the LB-Works, the Liberty-Works Lamborghini Huracan Coupe. So, all right, let's crack this open. All right, let's see the weight. The weight on this one is 33.3 grams, so it is right in the sweet spot where it needs to be competitive with our other cars. And let's switch over to this view, and I will grab the video, and we may have another Lamborghini ready to kind of make a statement on the track, because there's one of them, and there are so many Lamborghinis that I've kind of lost track of which one is which, but there's at least one of these Lamborghinis that is pretty fast, and the students, like I said, students always pick Lamborghinis. At least one student's going to pick a Lamborghini, no doubt, no question. And when they do, 822, there is one that has been the champion in the classrooms more frequently than not. It's gray. I think Roughshod may have picked it way back, like months ago, and I think it did okay, but I think it just wasn't fast enough to beat the I think at the time it was the Blitz Speeder that was the champion. So let's see, the LB-Works Lamborghini Huracan Coupe, and I didn't check the manufacturing year, but I will after we get this still picture right here. And let me drop some little fill light, and go. Oh, don't need that. I need a photo. There we go. And there we have it. We have the Lamborghini Huracan Coupe, and that is going to be the car that is rounding out the new cars to the fleet. But I do need to go and pull Roughshod's pick, the Driftsta, which was number 246. This car was manufactured in 2020, and got that there. Okay, so I'm gonna go and pull Roughshod's car, and then we will take a look at that, and we will be all set to hit the track. So I'm gonna pull that car. I still don't have any other music while I'm looking for the cars, so it will be the bathroom break sequence that pops up, and I will oh, that's right, thank you for reminding me, I got to get the Thunderbird 2, which was 776. So this timer is going to say 5 minutes. It's not going to take me 5 minutes to get those, but I'm going to go and pull those two cars, the Thunderbird and Roughshod's Driftsta, and we will take a look at those and then hit the track. So I'll be right back. Okay, so I found those cars, and let's take a look at the Driftsta. Well, first let me check and see how much it weighs. It weighs in at 27.9 grams, so it's light as well. So we've got some light cars in here, which I think will be beneficial to the Lamborghini. Probably will be the biggest kind of beneficiary of going up against these light cars. But this one, it's got a lower profile and a wide back end, a wide flat back end, so that actually should help it. And I think while it's not the wildest fantasy car that we've seen, it's got a more traditional look. But I think that this back end right here, that flat back end, will give it a good push. Profile's pretty low, and I think, it's a good looking car. Will it do well on the track? I think so. I think if I had to guess, I think it could beat that Liberty Walk Nissan Skyline, and I think it could beat the Thunderbird. When you start talking about the Rally Speciale and the Lambo, then the weight may come into play. And yeah, it's got this like diffuser situation, but then because it's got this flat panel under the bottom, then the diffuser wouldn't actually have a chance to work the way the diffuser is supposed to, because there's just this flat panel under the bottom right there. So it's definitely interesting. So I think this car will do well. So we've got that, and then the other one that I pulled out that's going to be in the challenge is the Matt and Debbie Hayes Pro Street Thunderbird, etc., etc. And if this other one is going to be in the fleet, if the red one is going to make it into the fleet, it is going to have to beat the purple one. Purplish pink, lavender. That's the only way it makes it into the fleet. And I'm hoping it does, because I think it's a great looking car, but I am not going to allow for duplicates, even though, like I said, the wheels are different. So you see these front wheels on the red one are different, and whether or not that makes all that much of a difference, I don't know. We'd have to race and find out. But then when we look at this car, the wheels are two different sizes, but they're similar. Other than that, let's see. The spoiler is flatter on the pink one, so it may be because I have them on this little plastic piece that's designed to keep them from rolling off the platform. But these seem to be, I think they're pretty much exactly the same. And there may be like a camera angle, or because one's sort of got this reflective chrome-ish look to it, but it does seem to be a little bit lower. But I think these are exactly the same car, but they've at least got the different wheels, and we are going to see how this all plays out when we hit the track, which is what we are about to do. And as I do every week, I am going to let you know if in fact this is your first time viewing an all about aerodynamics at the track live race. I'm going to let you know what you're about to see. You are going to see our 3-camera track view, and the cars will start off at the top of the screen on the left, our start line camera view. I will give a countdown, 3, 2, 1, race. I will hit the launcher. The cars will come flying out of the launcher. They will come from the top of the screen toward the bottom of the screen. They will pass out of the bottom of the screen and show up at the top of the screen in the middle. They will go from top to bottom, flying out of the bottom of the screen in the middle and showing up at the top of the screen on the far right, our finish line camera. The cars will come from top to bottom. They will cross the finish line, and the car that crosses first will be indicated with a solid red light. The car that loses will be indicated with a flashing red light. So solid red light indicates the winning car. Flashing red light indicates the losing car. The races are best 2 out of 3. If a car crashes and leaves the track, then we throw out the results of that race and set the cars up again and run the race again. If the same car crashes twice consecutively, that car is disqualified, and we simply move on. Because if a car crashes twice consecutively in the exact same way, there's usually some combination of the car's shape and the force of the launcher that is just going to result in more crashes, and there's no reason to waste our time with cars that can't make it down the track. So other than that, the cars switch lanes after each race. It's best 2 out of 3, and the winning car moves on until we keep going like that until we have a winner, a champion, and that champion will then get to take on our fastest in fleet car, which is the Gazella R. And the Gazella R is just waiting around until March 29th for the matchup with the Blitz Speeder, but one of these cars may be the one to take it out and throw those plans out the window. So I've got the cars. I am ready to take them over to the track. I will meet you over there in 30 seconds. Okay, and I just need to double check the audio and make sure that we are good. 1, 2, yep. Audio is good, track is set up, cars are ready to race, and we are about to find out which car is going to take the title today and which car is going to challenge the Gazella R for fastest in fleet supremacy. But before we can get to that, we have to take care of some business, and that business is finding out if the red Thunderbird, 88 Thunderbird, gets to stay in the fleet, or if it is going to become a prize car, a beautiful prize car. We have the Matt and Debbie Hayes 88 Ford Thunderbird Pro Street blah 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 in lane 1. We have the other 88 Ford Thunderbird in lane 2, and these cars are ready to go. And the red car, the red one, is in lane 2. The purple one is in lane 1. And the car in lane 2, the red one, needs to take these races in order to stay in the fleet. So just double check the track. Everything looks good. Yeah. All right, here we go. We've got the red Thunderbird in lane 2, purple Thunderbird lane 1. Race 1, here we go. 3, 2, 1, race. Those cars wobbled their way down the track, and ultimately the Matt and Debbie Hayes, the purple Thunderbird, won the race. And I'm saying won because it crossed the finish line first, but wow, that was a sloppy performance. But it's kind of what you expect with cars that are that have that tiny single point of contact with the launcher, and these cars are light. And as I was sort of describing earlier, I don't expect a car with a bad launch point, a small launch point, and it being light to do that well. And we saw what usually happens with these light cars. They slow down towards the back end of the track because drag just does its thing, and you need some weight behind you. Now, too much and gravity will get you, but we'll see. The cars have switched lanes. We now have the red Thunderbird in lane 1. We have the purple Thunderbird in lane 2. This red Thunderbird has to take 2 races in a row or it's cooked. It's done. It's over. All right, here we go. Race 2. 3, 2, 1, race. And instead, the red Thunderbird just decided to crash and fly off the track, which is one of the things that I predicted. So now, 2 of my predictions have come to fruition. The first one was that the car would, because it was so light, it would start to slow down towards the back end of the track, which it did, but since it's racing an identical car, they both slowed down toward the back end, so that didn't matter. My other prediction was that the car would crash because of the force with which it comes out of the launcher, and that came true. Car crashed. And we will set these up again and see if this car can stay on the track, or if it is going, I mean, now it's bad. Now the red car has really put itself in a terrible situation. If it crashes, it's done. If it loses, it's done. This race, this is all or nothing. It has to win this race to survive and force a third and final race. If it loses, it's gone. If it crashes, it's gone. All the pressure on the red car. Does it really want to stay in the fleet? Is it going to be able to stay in the fleet? Does it have the capabilities and the capacity and the speed to stay in the fleet? We're going to find out if I can ever get this purple car to stay in place at the start line, which I can't. These cars are all ready to roll. All right, got it. Okay, here we go. We've got the red Thunderbird, everything on the line, in lane 1, and we've got the purple Thunderbird in lane 2. Here we go. Three, two, one, race. I don't know what to make of that. So, both cars crashed, but neither one left the track. They both flipped upside down. The purple one is in lane 2 about halfway down the track, and the red one is almost at the finish line. It's like, it's just 7 inches, I don't know, from the finish line. I guess we throw that out. Now, had that red car had just enough juice to cross the finish line, that would have counted as a win, because it would have crossed the finish line. Doesn't matter if you cross it upside down. If you cross the finish line first, you win, but it didn't win. So I guess we just have to do that race over. These cars, neither, put it like this, regardless of what happens, ultimately, with these cars, neither one of these cars is beating any of the other cars, I don't think. Because this is I'm not going to say a nightmare performance. They're just not not set up to do well on the track. And it's interesting that cars that are modeled after actual street racing drag cars are doing so poorly on our track, on our drag track. So just goes to show there's other reasons and factors that go into a car being fast on the track besides the looks. So let's get this thing lined up. This red car now doesn't want to stay in the blocks. These cars are almost more trouble than they're worth. It's because they've got this single little point of contact at the back that it's hard to press them up against the launching block, but I've done it, and here we go. This is technically it's race number 2 because the other ones didn't count, but this red car needs to win. So I don't know if that would be, since we threw out that race, it's got to stay on the track. It's got to win. Here we go. Red car, red Thunderbird lane 1, purple Thunderbird lane 2. Three, two, one, race. Oh, check that out. Those cars, they wobbled around, they bounced around the track, they did everything they could, but the red Thunderbird took it. So now, the red Thunderbird is one win away from earning a spot in the fleet. Can it happen? It's possible. It's possible. Is it likely? I don't know. These cars are performing in very unpredictable ways. We've had crashes. We've had one crash where the car left the track. We had a double crash where both cars stayed on the track, and each car has taken a win. So we are going to switch up the lanes, and we are going to have a race to determine whether or not this red car gets to stay. This is it. This is for all the marbles. Everything's on the line for the red car. Does it get to stay in the fleet with the rest of the fastest cars on the planet, or is it going to be sent away to the island of prize cars, where it will find a home somewhere else with some other student somewhere, but it will not be in the All About Aerodynamics fleet. So here we go. This is race number 3. We have the red Thunderbird in lane 2. We have the purple Thunderbird in lane 1. Here we go. Three, two, one, race. Red Thunderbird made it all the way down the track. Looked pretty fast on that pass, but the purple Thunderbird crashed, flew off the track, and ended up in the gutter. So we will reset that race. Somehow the red Thunderbird hit the barrier, flipped around, and ended up facing the wrong direction, but it stayed on the track. But the results get thrown out, and so now the pressure goes to the purple car. If the purple car crashes, then the red car makes it in. So the red Thunderbird, 88 Thunderbird, will be in the fleet. If the purple Thunderbird wins, then the red Thunderbird is out. And that's just how it goes. This race is a do or die race. This is the ultimate challenge. Here we go. Red 88 Thunderbird in lane 2. Purple 88 Thunderbird in lane 1. If the purple Thunderbird crashes, red Thunderbird is in the fleet. If the red Thunderbird wins, red Thunderbird is in the fleet. If the purple Thunderbird wins, red Thunderbird is a prize car. Here we go. Three, two, one, race. Welcome to the Fleet 1988 Red Thunderbird. You did it. Took out the Matt and Debbie Hayes Thunderbird, and as promised, you win that race, you're in. So now the Thunderbird, the 88 Thunderbird is in, and we will say adios to Matt and Debbie Hayes Thunderbird. So now we're back to the cars that we started off with and introducing those. So this Thunderbird, we'll give that a rest for just a moment, and we're going to go, let's go Driftsta. We'll go Roughshods Driftsta against the Automobili Pininfarina Battista. So let's see what these cars have to offer. And that Automobili is very light. So we're going to find out if that is a plus or a minus. It also doesn't have a lot of surface area touching the launching block. So I would, if I had to put money on it, I would go with the Driftsta just because of the weight. And we're going to see. So the Driftsta is in lane 2, and the Automobili Pininfarina Battista is in lane 1. Here we go. Three, two, one, race. Woo. That race was close, and the Automobili pulled it out. Race 1, but that was close enough that I wouldn't be surprised if we saw alternate results. And the Driftsta takes the next race, and we end up in a third and final race. I like those close races where I can't even determine from my position at the starting block which car won. And I have to rely on the lights on the finish line. So we are switching it up. The Driftsta is now in lane 1, and the Automobili Pininfarina Battista is in lane 2. We are ready to go. Race number 2. Three, two, one, race. And the Automobili, despite its lightweight, was able to take that race, and it will be moving on, and we will find out which car it will challenge. And let's see. Let's go with the Rally Speciale versus this Liberty Walk Nissan Skyline. Let's see what results we can get from these two. We will put the Skyline in lane 2 and the Rally Speciale in lane 1. Cars are lined up, ready to go. Rally Speciale is in lane 1, and the Nissan Skyline is in lane 2. Here we go. Three, two, one, race. Nissan Skyline takes it. Both cars had some good speed. Rebounded all the way back to the start line area. We will switch lanes and see which car is going to move on. The Rally Speciale or the Nissan Skyline. Let's go here, here. Get these lined up just right. Okay, Nissan Skyline is now in lane 1, and the Rally Speciale is in lane 2. Here we go. 3, 2, 1, race. The Rally Speciale came back, took that race. Both cars, once again, rebounded all the way back to the start line, which suggests that there is some serious speed that these cars are putting down. So we're going to switch out the lanes and put the Rally Speciale in lane 1. The Nissan Skyline will be in lane 2. And we will find out which of these two cars is moving on. So let's go here. Again, Nissan Skyline lane 2, Rally Speciale is in lane 1, and this is race number 3. Three, two, one, race. That race was very close, and the Nissan Skyline pulled it out. So we now have the Nissan Skyline, the Automobili Pininfarina Battista, and we now are going to have the 88 Thunderbird, which just won its spot in the fleet, is going to now challenge the Lamborghini Huracan, the LBWK edition. And let's see, we'll put the Lamborghini in lane 1, and we will put the Thunderbird in lane 2. If I can get it to stay. This Thunderbird is just so uncooperative in terms of staying pressed up against the launching block. The car, it rolls forward just slightly. And the problem is, if a car isn't pressed up right against the launching block, then the launching block punches the car instead of pushing the car. And that makes a difference in the kind of launch that the car gets. And so I really, especially with a light car like this Thunderbird, I really want to make sure that it's pressed up against the launching block. The problem is that it only has that one little point of contact, which is the parachute. But nevertheless, I've gotten it in there, and we have the Thunderbird, the 88 Thunderbird in lane 2, and we have the Lamborghini Huracan in lane 1, race 1. Here we go. Three, two, one, race. Whoa. Okay, that was a little unexpected. The Thunderbird took that race with ease by a lot, by multiple car lengths, and I didn't expect that. But it's why you have to actually race the cars, because you can have all the theories you want, but until the cars actually move down the track side by side, cross that finish line, you never know. So the Lamborghini, unless it got a bad launch, it's got some ground to make up. Because if it didn't get a bad launch, then it means it's just that much slower than the Thunderbird. Because that was a big, big lead that Thunderbird took. And if the Lamborghini can't close that gap, well, put it like this. If the Lamborghini didn't get a bad launch, then that means it's just that much slower than the Thunderbird. So the Lamborghini better hope it got a bad launch and make up for it in this race, because otherwise it will be watching the semifinal round from the sideline. So we've got the Lamborghini Huracan Coupe in lane 2. We've got the 88 Thunderbird in lane 1. Three, two, one, race. And the Lamborghini took it, and one of the things that I mentioned before is that with these light cars with a small point of contact, you never know what kind of launch they're going to get. So in the first race, the Thunderbird got a good, solid launch, and it was able to stay straight on the track, flew down the track, won the race by a lot. In this race, it came out of the launcher, and it was wobbling around and shaking and moving, and by the time it corrected itself, the race was over because the Lamborghini stayed straight on the track. And so in all that time, while the Thunderbird was correcting its getting its balance and getting back aligned on the track, the Lamborghini was simply moving down the track at speed and took the race easily. So if this Thunderbird can't stop bumping around the back end or the front end of the track, it'll be toast. So the Thunderbird is now in lane 2. The Lamborghini is in lane 1. The Thunderbird had better hope that it gets a better launch than it got in that first race, but we'll see. All right, here we go. Race number 2. Three, two, one, race. The Thunderbird did in fact get a better launch, and the Thunderbird took that race and is moving on. So the Lamborghini will be on the sidelines, and we are down to 3 cars. We've got the Automobili Pininfarina, we've got the 88 Thunderbird, and we've got the LBWK Nissan Skyline. So this next race up will be, let's go with the Skyline and this Thunderbird. This Thunderbird's got the hot hand, so let's keep at it. See if it can keep it up. There is a definite weight. The Skyline feels heavier. I don't recall how much heavier it is than the Thunderbird, but we will find that out momentarily. Well, when we get back in, I'll check the weight. But right now we have the Skyline in lane 1. We have the Thunderbird in lane 2. Can the Thunderbird keep this streak going? It had to win its spot just to be in the fleet. Now that it's in the fleet, can it make it to the finals? We'll see. Race number 1 coming up. Thunderbird lane 2, Nissan lane 1. Three, two, one, race. Once again, the Thunderbird is just hit or miss. If it gets a good launch, it's pretty fast down the track. But that time it did the same thing. It got a shaky launch. It was wobbling around, and by the time it corrected itself, the Nissan was already a quarter of the way down the track ahead of it. It was just not all that close. So we now have the LBWK Skyline with a 1-race-to-none advantage, and it looked pretty strong in that race. So if this Thunderbird does not get a better launch, it will be definitely out of the running. So let's see, get these cars lined up, and Thunderbird is in lane 1, and the Skyline, if I can get it to stay in position, the Skyline is in lane 2. Now the Thunderbird wants to roll forward again. It's funny, it's when I went to the NHRA drag races, these drag cars are always, they're just kind of inching forward, right up to the start line, and it's almost like that's what this Thunderbird is doing. I can't get it to stop inching forward and stay connected to the launching block. All right, we've got it now. Okay, so here we go. We've got the Thunderbird in lane 1. We have the Nissan Skyline in lane 2. And we will see right now which of these cars is going to move on? Is it going to be the Skyline, or is the Thunderbird going to be able to force a third and final race? Here we go. Let's see what happens. Three, two, one, race. Nope. The Thunderbird did the same thing. It wobbled a bit at the beginning, and the Skyline didn't wobble at all. The Skyline went right down the track, and by the time the Thunderbird corrected itself, race was over. So that is what happened there to set up our final, which is going to be the Automobili Pininfarina against the LBWK Skyline. So let's get these cars set up, and we will see which one will get to take on the Gazella R for the fastest in fleet title. The LBWK Skyline is backed right up against the launching block in lane 1, and the Automobili Pininfarina Battista is in lane 2. And it's creeping away from the launching block. Let me adjust the wheels, get it lined up. This is the final matchup. All right, we're ready to go. Automobili Pininfarina Battista in lane 2, LBWK Nissan Skyline in lane 1. Here we go. Three, two, one, race. LBWK takes it, and it is bouncing all the way back to the start line, which is notable because when the cars hit the memory foam barrier at the end of the track, the amount of force that they hit that barrier with will determine how far back up the track they roll. And in the case of the Gazella, in the case of some of our faster cars, they hit that barrier, and Isaac Newton's third law of motion, for every action there's an equal and opposite reaction. They hit that barrier, and they come all the way back. And that is what we've seen with the Skyline. So, can that car, can it beat the Automobili once again and take on the Gazella and give the Gazella a competitive race? We are going to find out. But let's see first what happens in this second race. And we have the Skyline in lane 2, and we have the Automobili Pininfarina Battista in lane 1. Race number 2, here we go. Three, two, one, race. Skyline takes it. The Skyline is our champion. Let me make sure I'm giving this car. Yeah, the Nissan Skyline 2000 GTR LBWK edition. And that car is going to take on the Gazella R for the fastest in fleet title. The Automobili, like I said, it was in that upper, mid to upper level in terms of performance. That's what I thought. And that's about how it performed on the track. But now we are at the time of the day when we are going to find out if the Gazella is going to continue its march to March 29th and the showdown with the Blitzspeeder, or if we are going to have a new champion. I thought last week that the slide kick was going to have an opportunity to really disrupt those rematch aspirations and defeat the Gazella, but that was not the case. That did not happen. The Gazella, just walked all over the slide kick and cleared up that blemish on its record. And now, if I can get this Skyline to stay put, we will see if the Skyline can disrupt the March 29th plans by beating the Gazella. So, we have the Skyline in lane 2. We have the Gazella in lane 1. This is the race for fastest in fleet supremacy. Here we go. Lane 1, Gazella. Lane 2, Skyline. Three, two, one, race. The race was a little closer than I expected, but the Gazella still took it, and we will switch lanes and see if the Skyline can now take 2 races in a row from the Gazella. I have a hard time imagining that that's possible, but, you know, we've seen strange things on the track before. This would be up there with the strangest, but let's see what the Skyline can do. If I can get it to stay put in the launching block. Okay. Looks okay. Alright, well, I want to get it straight. Come on, Skyline. Alright, good. And the Gazella, great. Okay, Skyline's in lane 1. Gazella R is in lane 2. Can the Skyline take 2 races in a row from the Gazella in order to become the new fastest in fleet champion? We're going to find out. But if the Gazella takes this, the march to March 29th continues. So here we go. Three, two, one, race. And the Gazella had no problem. The Gazella remains our fastest in fleet car. I'm going to gather these cars up, head back into the garage, and then we will take a look at the winners and the losers and what is ahead. So once again, the Gazella R is absolutely, completely, and totally dominant. We are now just 3 weeks away. 3 weeks away from the showdown. In those 3 weeks, can another car step up and take out the Gazella R? It's not looking promising. I'm looking at some of the cars that I pulled out that were possible cars to race today, and of those, I don't see any that just stand out. So we've got a handful here that could have potentially been picked, and maybe this 17 Pagani Huayra Roadster, but I'm pretty sure I might as well check right now to see whether or not we already have one of those. 2017 Pagani Huayra Roadster. Yep, car number 812. So this is no longer a contender. And then we have this 1970s Charger, the Fast and Furious edition. The problem with this, or no, it's not even Fast and Furious, just some off-road version, but it's got the big, it's a cool car, but it's got the big truck tires, and there's no way, we've never had a car with these off-road tires do particularly well, so it's almost like I should just take this car and stick it in. Oh, it is the Fast and Furious edition. I I should take this car and just stick it in with the trucks, because this has no chance to compete with or beat the Gazella. We have this Audi RS e-tron GT, and I'm checking now to see we have a Audi RS e-tron GT. It's car number 783, so this is another prize car. 06 Pontiac GTO. Let's see. Do I already have one of these? 06 Pontiac GTO, car number 480. So that car is out. So of the cars that we had the opportunity to introduce, well, I also have this one, this Celero GT. But I think that I had one of these before, and it was red. And I think that the problem is there's a little piece on this car that sticks out. You can kind of see it right there. It sticks out just above the wheel, and it makes the car just too wide to fit into the launcher. And this car, I think it should have done very well. Like, it had everything that I would look for in a car to do well on the track, but that little piece right there on both sides, the combination, just made it like a millimeter just too wide, and it won't fit in the launcher properly. So this is a great car, and I would have thought it would have done well, but it can't fit. So I might, if this is a duplicate, I have to double check, but if this is a duplicate, I might take this car and then I might try and actually shave down that little piece right there. And if I can do that, perhaps it would fit in the launcher. And if it can fit in the launcher, then it can race. But that's just another car that is a possibility when we're talking about looking for cars that can can upset the Gazella. And I see that Roughshod has put in his pick for next week, already calling his shot. Let's see, 126, the Captain Marvel car. So let's take a look at that. Yeah, not sure about the weight. So the thing is, okay, so this one has the look and feel and all that of a car that should do well. This giant splitter in the front, but yeah, the question is about the weight. We don't know about the weight, because it is a character car and premium car, and Hot Wheels tends to use their quality materials and such on those cars. Now the wheels, those may be they kind of have that faster than ever look, but I don't know if that means that they did anything to the axles or not. But we will definitely find out next week. It's got the look, it's got the aerodynamic profile. It seems wide, which is good, because that prevents the car from bouncing around the track as much. So wider cars tend to do better. But we will see Captain Marvel and how that car how it works out. And if you have a car that you want to enter into the tournament to see on the track, all you have to do is go to AtTheTrack.live, select choose a car, and then scroll through. There are more than 800 cars. 800 cars. I've said this before, that of course there are people with more extensive Hot Wheels collections, but to go through and catalog them like this, have them available for everyone to look at, this is unique. And if I wish I had the search function operating, but that is something that's out of my hands. But in the meantime, since we're up here every Saturday at 11 a.m. Pacific, racing cars, reviewing cars, you have a whole week to look through and determine which car it is that you want to pick to try and challenge the other cars that are introduced, and to try and knock off the Gazella R before it gets to the March 29th showdown with the Blitz Speeder, the rematch. There's cars from the 70s, the 80s. This is one that I had when I was a kid. It's this Corvette. I think I have another one that's green, and it's got these has the gold Hot Ones wheels. I have a few of those gold Hot Ones cars, and the thing with those is that the axles are nickel plated, so the wheels spin more freely. The downside is that this is an older car, and as you can see, this is metal on metal, so this car would be heavy. On a gravity track, that might be to its benefit to have the Hot Ones, the gold Hot Ones wheels, and be heavier. But on our track, that is not, that extra weight, it's not going to help. It's not going to help at all. And we haven't seen any of these cars do particularly well. That Mountain Dew Racer, which is, I think, car number, it's one of the first few cars. That one actually did well, but ultimately, where is it? Somewhere around here. I know it's in the top. There it is. This Racing Stalker. This one. It's metal on metal. It's got the gold Hot Ones wheels. It did well on the track, considering, but it couldn't beat out, ultimately, it couldn't beat out some of the other cars that had plastic components, so metal on plastic, plastic on metal. And I don't separate the cars out. When my son and I used to do this, before I created All About Aerodynamics and we were just racing Hot Wheels cars at the house, we would weigh the cars, and the cars had to be within a certain range to keep the races fair for the most part. But now, whichever car gets picked, that's the car that hits the track. And it's kind of like the early days of UFC when there were no weight classes and you had people with different styles fighting each other. This is a version of that. We have cars with different sizes, different shapes, different components, plastic, metal, plastic, whatever. We have larger wheels, smaller wheels, wider wheels. It doesn't matter. All the cars hit the track, have the same opportunity, best 2 out of 3, and we will see which car comes out on top. To this point, no car has come out on top more frequently and more definitively than the Gazella R. So, this is our champion. This is the car that you have the opportunity to pick a car to knock it off. But until that happens, the Gazella R is the fastest Hot Wheels car in the world. And we will find out next Saturday if it can hang on to its championship. There is also, on Wednesday, Wind Tunnel Wednesday, where we will be taking different Hot Wheels cars and throwing them in the wind tunnel and taking a look at those. Because what I'm thinking is, we see on Saturday, we race the cars, we see which cars are faster, how they perform. The Gazella R, we know, is the fastest car, period. So when we put it in the wind tunnel, we observe what we see. And then start to catalog and track what the similarities are between the cars that we know are fast. Are there similar patterns in the way that the air flows over, under, and around those cars? And then, after a while, after we have enough cars that we've looked at, we should be able to put a car in the wind tunnel, see how the air is flowing over, under, and around it, and then make a determination as to whether or not that car will be fast on the track. How will that car perform? And it's going to take a lot of data and a lot of cars being put through the wind tunnel. But it will work similarly to AtTheTrack.live. If there's a car that you want to see in the wind tunnel, all you have to do is just go to AtTheTrack.live, choose a car, find the car, give me the number, I'll put it in the wind tunnel. And so last week we did it just on Instagram because it's a vertical format, and I'm trying to create something to do more on Instagram. But I realized that what I can do, and I'm going to try it this week, is do it on YouTube and Instagram. Now the difference will be all the action is going to take place in the center of the screen. So if you're watching on Instagram, that's all you'll see is the center part. If you're watching on YouTube, you'll see the center part where the action is taking place, but then there's going to be space on the sides, and I haven't really figured out what to do there, or if it's even something that would be appealing to watch on YouTube. I don't know. So a lot of this is just a work in progress. I'm just kind of working things out, but it's Wind Tunnel Wednesdays. It is at 4 p.m. Pacific time, and I might play around with the times or go earlier or later, but all of that information you can get and find out about if you just follow us on Instagram, AA Aerodynamics, get all the information there. So Wind Tunnel Wednesdays, we'll be up here putting cars in the Windsable Wind Tunnel and seeing what kind of observations we can make based on the airflow over, under, and around the cars. So after that, we'll be back up here as the Gazella R marches towards March 29th in the showdown with the Blitz Speeder. And that is what we've got going on. If there's anything else, you'll know about it first on Instagram. And I hope to see you back here next week as we race more cars. And until next time, I will see you at the races.